Hello and welcome to myfinanceteacher.org. In this video, let's have a look at the valuation of a couple of large gold miners. That's AngloGold Ashanti and Kinross. As usual, we're going to have three scenarios for gold price. Of course, our valuation will also depend on the reserves and the resources companies have, their production costs, their long-term debts, taxes, amount of shares outstanding. We're going to also look at the time value of money, as well as a little bit of an effect of insider shares, as those might turn out to be strong hands supporting the share price. All of the data presented here comes from these sources, so you can easily verify everything on your own. Today is 20th of March, and this video might go public on YouTube, perhaps, say, a couple of weeks later. We have a lot of other valuations already posted at myfinanceteacher.org. This is just one example of Kirkland Lake and Goldfields. So for more details, you are more than welcome to join us at myfinanceteacher.org. You can do that by clicking this register button. Coming back to our current valuation, we're going to look at three scenarios for gold price. The balanced scenario includes the gold price of $1,800 per ounce. Conservative scenario is at $1,600 per ounce. And optimistic scenario is at $2,000 per ounce. Remember, this is more or less fundamental valuation. And fundamental valuation generally works out over the longer term. So this is generally where I would expect prices to tend to over the next, say, couple of years. Whereas any week-to-week or perhaps even month-to-month fluctuation could be far away from the valuations we discuss here. So with that in mind, my actual optimistic scenario for gold price over the next couple of years is actually beyond $3,000 per ounce. For videos with the supporting data on that, check the links in the description below. So perhaps even the optimistic scenario in this valuation is not that out of the ordinary. Next, let's move on to the reserves and resources. We're looking at proven and probable reserves for AngloGold Ashanti of 29.7 million ounces and measured and indicated reserves of gold of 51.2 million ounces. All the numbers for the resources in my videos are exclusive of the reserves. With Kinross, we have 30 million ounces of proven and probable reserves of gold and 32.4 million ounces of measured and indicated resources. And Kinross also has 59.2 million ounces of proven and probable reserves of silver and 39.2 million ounces of measured and indicated resources of silver. All of that, as you see, are from the company reports. Moving on to all-in sustaining costs, long-term debts, and taxes. All-in sustaining costs from the guidance for 2021 for AngloGold Ashanti are around $1,180. For Kinross, all-in sustaining costs are around $1,025 per gold equivalent ounce. Both companies have relatively large debts. AngloGold Ashanti has 1.9 billion in long-term debts, and Kinross has nearly 1.5 billion in long-term debts. I assume a tax rate of just 20%. Perhaps the actual tax rate is a little bit higher, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Hence, for my valuations, I look at the value of reserves and resources in the ground after production costs, after debts, and after taxes. Next, moving on to shares outstanding, as we look at the per share valuation. AngloGold Ashanti has nearly 417 million shares outstanding, with 0% held by insiders, and Kinross has 1.26 billion shares outstanding, with 0.24% in insider hands. Looking at the time value of money, I'm going to use a discount rate of 5%, with an average mine life of proven and probable reserves of 11 years for AngloGold Ashanti. And if we throw in only half of measured and indicated resources, this average mine life increases to around 20 years. That's based on the production expectations for 2021. In case of Kinross, average mine life of proven and probable reserves is 13 years, and adding half of measured and indicated resources increases this to 19 years. Hence, with all of the data that we've mentioned so far, we come to our conservative valuation, where, again, a reminder, we plug in the gold price of only $1,600, and we assume the company only has proven and probable reserves in the ground without any measured and indicated resources, never mind inferred resources. That gives you a conservative valuation for AngloGold Ashanti of just under $15.5, which presents a risk of around 30% versus the ongoing market price of nearly $22. In case of Kinross, we have a conservative valuation of just about $7.5, which is already an undervaluation versus the market price of around 9%. So perhaps Kinross is kind of attractive here. Moving on to the balanced valuation, we plug in the gold price of $1,800, and we are still looking at only proven and probable reserves in the ground. That gives AngloGold Ashanti a balanced valuation of just over $24, which is around 10% undervaluation versus the market price. And the balanced valuation for Kinross is around $10.4, which is around 50% undervaluation from the market price. And most interestingly, optimistic valuation plugs in the gold price of $2,000 per ounce, and we apply the valuation to the proven and probable reserves, as well as only half of measured and indicated resources. We still don't include the company's inferred resources or any exploration potential in this valuation. That gives an optimistic value of all of the reserves after costs and debts of around $52.2 per share, which is over 130% undervaluation versus the market price. And for Kinross, the optimistic valuation is nearly $18, which is nearly $160 undervaluation versus the market price. So if, say, over the next several months, gold price does reach $2,000 per ounce, are we going to see AngloGold Ashanti and Kinross more than double from where we are at the moment? Well, I think it is quite likely. Let's have a look at their performance since that significant low in March 2020. The gold line here is gold, blue line here is Kinross, and red line is AngloGold Ashanti. On the way up, AngloGold Ashanti outperformed gold by 3.7 times. And on the way down, unfortunately, AngloGold Ashanti also outperformed gold on the way down by 2.5 times. And on average, between these two lows in March last year and early March this year, AngloGold still outperformed gold to the upside by a factor of 2.6. And looking at Kinross, on the way up, Kinross outperformed gold by a factor of 4.7. And unfortunately, on the way down, it also dropped more than gold, more by a factor of 2.2. And between these two lows, from March 2020 to March this year, Kinross still outperformed gold up by a factor of 4.8. So from here onwards, if, say, sometime in the second half of this year, gold price comes back up to $2,000, perhaps higher, that's 15-20% higher from where we are at the moment. And with the miners' leverage versus gold price, it's likely that perhaps the prices will nearly double. I'm not really sure if the prices will increase by around 150%, but close to doubling from here if gold price breaks above $2,000 is quite likely, in my opinion. By the way, the heading was from a previous presentation. Lastly, let's have a look at the highlights which didn't enter into the valuation model, so perhaps you want to take these into account as well. AngloGold is now paying a relatively attractive dividend yield of around 2%. They also have an attractive exploration potential with a lot of projects in 7 countries all over the world. And production growth expectations, mainly from their Obuasi project in Ghana, might also help to drive share prices higher if production increases. And an additional factor here is that AngloGold Ashanti also has some copper reserves. So even if precious metals stagnate a little bit, if copper continues to push higher, that might help levitate share prices for AngloGold Ashanti. For Kinross, I noticed a nice cash position of $1.2 billion, which is smaller than their long-term debts, but it's still a pretty nice large position. Production of Kinross is also expected to grow by around 20% over the next couple of years into 2023, and Kinross also has a very attractive exploration potential. And this concludes the video, so let me just leave you with this question. Do you see Kinross and AngloGold Ashanti at least doubling sometime before the end of 2021? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Have a lovely weekend and good luck in your trades.